All right, I want you to take a look at the sheet that says weekly syllabus number 1, please. Since it says weekly, you get one of these each week. Typically, it would be on a Monday, but today being Wednesday, first day of school, you get one on Wednesday. What it is I just give you a rundown of what's going to be happening for the course of the week, as well as any kind of upcoming dates that will be going on that I think you should be aware of for. You do need to get a 3-ring binder for this class. We do notebook checks. I'll give you some dividers to try to keep things organized for it. If you already have one, great. If not, go through Monday. By Monday, I just want you to have a 3-ring binder. You could get one of those large binders and have like all your classes through it. I think that gets too confusing. I'd say if you get like an inch binder, 1.5 inches should be okay. That would fit all the stuff that we would need in it. But like a weekly syllabus would be something that we want to have. Logan, what's it like? Inch binder? Yeah, something like that would be perfectly fine. What a lot of people do is they'll take weekly syllabus, they'll slide it in that clear plastic thing that's on the front cover, so they get an idea for anything that's happening so far as dates and whatnot. But by Monday at the latest, I'll give you some notebook dividers that you can put in there so that all your weekly syllabi will be together, all your vocab lists will be together, so that when we need any of those pages or something like that, you got a way to locate it very, very easily. So a couple things that's going to be going on today. Basically, we're just going to go over a rundown of what we do in here. Starting tomorrow is when we'll start taking some notes. We'll do some things with figurative language coming up if the smartboard starts to work. But so you'll want to have notebook paper and things like that with you. Those pocket folders, it's not going to be enough space to hold the things that we're going to be going through. So definitely get the 3-ring binder for it. Monday, you have your 3-ring binder. 5 points will be going in the grade book for you, and tomorrow I can start checking them off for those of you that already have it. You can also see under upcoming dates that your vocab list that you picked up coming in, I'm also going to collect that on Monday the 28th. So on that piece of paper, I think at the top, probably be a good idea by your name just to write due Monday. Vocab list number 1, we're probably going to do about 12 throughout the course of the year, so it kind of comes and goes in spurts. It's not something where you're going to be getting one every single week. Most times you would get it on a Monday, and then you would turn it into me by Friday. With this week being abbreviated, things get a little bit different. So all you got to do, make sure you write a definition for the word, and then the part that we also want to make sure you include would be a sentence. So it's going to be 10 points for you completing that, and then next Friday we take a quiz on those 10 terms. The first 4 lists are all going to be Keystone-based terms. So you got Keystone exams for 10th grade, which you guys are going to be taking in May. You've certainly heard about them before. We'll do some things throughout the year to get you ready for it without having to do Keystone month come April and bore your minds out with all those things. For definitions, make sure when you use the word, you're using it in a sentence where it makes sense. I wouldn't want someone to write, I have allegory as a vocab term, and they make that their sentence. Since a lot of these are literary terms, if instead of writing the word in a sentence, you want to do an example, such as like you want to write your own analogy, I would be perfectly okay with that. So for Monday, at the beginning of class, I'll simply walk around, collect homework, and then I would get this stuff back to you by Tuesday, so you have it to look over for our quiz that we would do on Friday. When we do vocab quizzes, they're multiple choice, true, false type things. It should only take 5-6 minutes at most for it. When I pass them back also on Tuesday, if there's any words or definitions where it seemed like people were having a hard time understanding, we'll go over that stuff to make sure there isn't any confusion with what is going on. All right. Any questions? On the back of your weekly syllabus, if you flip it over, there is a remind invitation I think it would be a good idea for you to sign up for Remind. If you have your phone with you and you want to sign up for it right now, go right ahead and do it. So for example, I'm not going to send you something every day going, thanks for coming to school today on Wednesday, August the 23rd. It was great to see you, because you get enough messages and things coming your way. But Sunday night, I would send you something like, make sure you have your 3-ring binder. Vocab list #1, I'm going to be collecting in class tomorrow. You don't have to utilize it, but I think it would probably be a pretty good idea, especially if we start using certain books in class. I need to remind you to bring those in. If you have an essay or something due, some kind of assignment, I'll send you a little bit of reminder for it. So on the back of the weekly syllabus sheet is where that information is at. If you don't want it to use as a text, you want to get an email instead, you can also set that up as well. After you sign up, you'll then get like a confirmation text coming in where I think you have to put a name in. Make sure you put your name rather than making something up. It does happen. Down at the bottom of your weekly syllabus, so the sheet that we're just looking at, you see for 8/28, there's a lot of stuff listed. That is Monday, so that's following the weekend. There's 3 things I want you to have. First one, we already talked about, vocabulary list. When it comes to homework, something like this, you have it or you don't. So I collect at the beginning of 5th period. If you don't have it at the beginning of 5th period, you don't have it, and so you're not going to get credit for that one. I do a fair amount of homework points throughout the course of the year. Sometimes homework points could be something like this where it's 10 points. If we do a study guide and you have like 20 questions to answer, it's probably going to be 20 points. So homework does add up fairly quickly. I purposely do that not to punish you, but if you got a bad test grade or a quiz that just doesn't go well, you got some points that you can kind of bank on after that. Once you do get your remind text, then please make sure you put stuff on the way, all that kind of stuff. But on Monday, so we got vocab list. Also by Monday, you want to make sure you have your 3-ring binder. Tomorrow, first thing I'll do, run through, if you have one, Logan, we'd mark off points. Ben, we'd mark off points, give you credit for having that binder with you. The third thing you need to do is by Monday, I want you enrolled in Google Classroom. I send an invitation out to your student Gmail addresses. If you don't know your student Gmail address or how to access it, talk to me after class, I can help you with that. I sent out an invite to you to join English 10 Google Classroom. It's something that we use pretty much almost every day. It's kind of a hub for me to put documents and things like that. For example, the daily agenda, when you came on the board, I have all these topics over here on the side, so I just simply go to daily agenda and load up today's. So if a person is absent, you could certainly just go to the daily agenda, see what is on there, and know what we did for the day. You see over here for number 4, one of the topics is vocabulary lists. So when I go to vocabulary lists, I'm actually going to have a couple things pop up eventually. There's a digital copy of the homework sheet, so if you lose it over the course of the weekend, you could print out a new copy. There's also Quizlet links on there for flashcards. So all your vocab words are already put on flashcards. You could use that on phone, tablet, computer if you want to use it as a study aid. You need to do definitions. You could use dictionaries, which are behind Logan and Ben in the back of the room if you have time, or at home. You could do dictionary.com. You could go on to Quizlet and end up using the flashcards if you wanted to come up with the definitions. So it's a way for you to get access to stuff. Of course, it works better when it actually is loading up for us. But handouts, things like that, all those things are available through Google Classroom. And then it'll also show you when certain assignments are going to be due, such as literary term quiz for next week, which we'll talk about as we get going. So by by Monday of next week, rather than having 2 students on here, should have a full accompaniment of 22 of us signed up and ready to go. If that's going to be an issue for anyone, just talk to me after class. I'll show you how to set it up and all that kind of stuff. There's a rumor floating around that you are going to get new student emails. So the way that yours is set up now, you folks would be, when you graduate, 20? So it's like NS20 and then last name. I think you're going to be getting new ones where it's last name, first initial, and then 20 at the end. I checked last period, they weren't up there and live yet. So we might have to do a double login process a little bit later on. I'm not too worried on that. I think that might also be your login now to get on the computer. It might be different from how it was before. So those are things that we'll figure out as we're going along. But Monday, binder, vocab list, and then Google Classroom, you'd be checked in for that. All right, course syllabus. We're going to take a look at this one. You've only done this 4 times already today. Not a whole lot different than you had last period. What? Baby bus was late. Yeah. How many people coming from Beatty in the morning? All right, so if you guys are late, you have something to do. Hello.
Hi,
What's your name?
Melissa.
Okay. There's a table right by you. It says English 10 on it. You want to grab those 3 things, and then you are seated right down here at this first table. And then I'll get cut off with you in a little bit. Okay. All right. Syllabus. So notebook, that 3-ring binder that you get, this is something that would certainly be going in there. I'll explain how the handouts are going to work and all that kind of stuff. Syllabus is pretty typical, probably to most things that you've already been getting. It's an English 10 course, so it's a literature course, it's a writing course, your standard English class, so we're going to be doing certainly a fair amount of those things. Our first book reading assignment is actually a play. We'll start with next week. You do have a year-long textbook that we use down here, Elements of Literature. Last year in 9th grade, I think it was purple. That you had. This one's going to be like a blue one. I'm not going to pass that out yet until we start to use it, which is probably going to be about a month away. So you will be getting a full literature textbook, but it's pointless for me to give it to you now if we're not going to be using it. The play that we're going to be reading, I made photocopies of that you'll just be able to fit in your. The textbook that you get, then you're just going to keep that one at home, and then I have enough that we can have a class set in here. So. The poetry, short stories, that's the kind of stuff that we use the textbook for. When you come in, you'll just have a textbook sitting at your seat. You can use that one. When you're at home, you'll have that textbook. It's like $80, so make sure you keep it in a good spot. Don't spoil your coffee, Coke, Dr. Pepper, any of those things on it. That would not be good. Luke, bring pencils and pens. The other things that we're going to be taking a look at, I'll give you individual copies of these. So Oedipus Rex, which we're going to start reading, Metamorphosis, last lecture. I have digital copies I'll print out, give to you. Fahrenheit 451 is an actual book that you'll get. That's going to be more like second semester. Those are ones that you would have to bring with you every day. So when you get Oedipus Rex next week, there's not going to be an in-class copy that we'll use. That'll just be one that will stay in your notebook. Bring your notebook every day. If you have your notebook with you every day, and you got something to write with, you'll be in good shape, and your brain. Grading scale, same thing that would be with any other class that that you've been having so far. You know, A minus, B plus, and all that kind of stuff. English 10 is academic course, so there's no like weighting that is taking place. If any of you had like Mrs. Washington last year with pre-AP 9, you got like a little bit of a bump with some grades. This one, it is what it is, and it's pretty much that. I would certainly hope that we don't have people falling into that category. If you do your homework, you show up, you're on time, you should be okay. If you don't do your homework, that's when these conversations kind of start happening where we might have to kind of look at some stuff. But I'm trying to do everything I can to empower you to be successful. So between the Remind app, you know when assignments are going to be due. If you're missing something, you know you'll be able to go to Google Classroom, and you'll become more familiar with this as we move along with it. There really shouldn't be reasons why you are falling behind. If we're moving too fast or something's just not clicking for you, make sure you then talk to me about it. I do have a class that comes in right after this one, but I can still talk to you in between. Third and fourth period, I don't have any classes, so if you are in the building, that could be a time to see me as well, and before school and after school. I'm pretty approachable, once I know who you are. What's your name? Angelina. Nick. After that, I'm going once. Shay. No. Was it Sean? Like Cheyenne, just stop. Okay. You're Marshall, because I've had like 12 of you. If you do miss a day as well, and again, absences happen, certainly know about that. One of the things that is over here on the topic are recorded lessons. Now, there's not anything in there right now because we haven't had any classes yet, but by the end of the day, today's date will be in there. If it's a class where I'm talking, we're going over stuff, it gets recorded so it can get posted. That's big if we're working on like an essay assignment or something, and we were talking about it. You get home, you start to work on it, you start forgetting a few things that we went over. That's the way that you can access it and know what's going on. So again, those resources are out there for you to use. Just please make sure you do. And again, you're running any problems, talk to me about it. I'm sure we'll be okay. Grading procedures, the types of assignments that we're going to have throughout the course of the year, it's going to vary. Homework, quizzes, exams, essays, projects, oral presentations. Oral presentation we're not going to do until later on in the year, but you'll be standing up here presenting some stuff in front of fellow classmates. Certainly we'll go over the information for that beforehand. It's not going to be a speech class or anything like that, so any nerves that you have about that, wait until that time rolls around. Good job, Logan. You did not stand up. I appreciate that. Homework, I told you, usually it's in that 10 to 20 point range. Your vocab is usually going to be 10 points. You will get some homework assignments, like when we start doing study guides, that will be worth a little bit more. So again, just kind of keep up with it and be okay. Most quizzes are in that 15 to 25, but again, you might have some that are a little bit more, a little bit less. We do exams, certainly when it comes to like major assignments. So we have 4 main texts that we read throughout the course of the year. Each one of those would have a fairly substantial test, as well as an essay assignment that goes along with it. Keystone exam. Multiple choice as well as written component. So that writing component is something that we look at. The Keystone exam, you don't have to write essays. You're basically writing paragraphs, short constructed responses. The hope is by us going through the different essays that we do, when you get to the Keystone exam, it seems like a piece of cake and you don't have to worry about all of that much. Again, I don't like to do a Keystone unit exam, but I like to do little things along the way to kind of build you up and prepare you for when you have to take that test. Homework. The big thing is when the homework is due, that's when it's due. So again, not halfway through class, not at the end of class, but it's due when I collect it. Especially when we do something like vocab study guides. I'm not going to go over a homework assignment with you that you didn't turn in, and then you can come in later that day or the next day with the homework assignment complete after we've gone over it. So make sure you have it ready to go, and it should be ready to go and complete. When we do some essay assignments, and certainly I'll talk to you about this later, we use a thing called IntroEng10. I don't know if you used it last year in 9th grade or not. Rather than you giving me a copy of your essay, you're going to submit it online. Your essays will write through your Google Documents, through your Drive. You'll be able to submit it online. It makes it easier on me. I don't get a stack of papers. I just grade them digitally. Still get feedback and comments. Makes it easier on you. You're not running in to see me during homeroom to try to go to the library to print out an essay really quickly. Or if you're coming in from Beatty and you don't have time to go to the library to print something out, we've cut out that middleman and you don't have to worry about it. Computer carts we'll have in here whenever we're doing something like that. iPads will be useful from time to time as well. I have those carts that we'll be able to use. Last year, I think some of you did like study sync with 9th grade with iPads. That stuff we're not worried about. 9th graders will be using that, but we're not going to be doing that. When we get into the essays, we'll talk a little bit more then about the plagiarism and all that kind of stuff. One thing that's nice about your essays being due online, the due date for those, or the time, ends up being 11:59 p.m. So theoretically, keep in mind you don't, but let's say this Friday you had an essay due. Rather than you having to have that for 5th period or hand it to me by the end of the school day, you'd have until 11:59 p.m. to submit it. So if you have a study hall, let's say 6th period to 7th period, it still gives you a chance to work on that assignment just as much as anything else. I'm guessing Devin. Devin, there's a paper, table right behind it says English 10. You want to grab those 3 things, and then you're seated right over here. Big thing, make sure you get here on time. Now, I'm not picking on Devin because he just came in or anyone else. I know first day we got stuff going on, baby buses and all those kinds of things are being difficult with us. But show up on time. If baby bus is late, I'll get an email about it, so you don't have to worry about big explanation with that. I do keep track if you show up late after 4, try to send your name down to Mr. Weber, and then he makes a call with what we do. The big thing is the more you're here, the more we can get done, and the easier it'll be for you. If during time you got to use a restroom or something like that, hall pass I usually keep over there. Raise your hand, let me know. Don't just get up, grab the pass, and leave because I have to know where you're going. If you use hall pass, just make sure you sign it out and all that kind of stuff to it. Which you'll have a pen or pencil with you at all times, so you'll be good to go. I think you know to raise your hand. Not going to be worried about that kind of stuff. Food, drink, things like that. It says do not bring food or drink, including water, into the classroom. If you have water bottles or things like that, I'm not going to be worried about it. Angeline is fine. Basically, if it has a cap or a lid, you're okay. The one thing I might try to do is maybe keep it on the floor, just in case it does get spilled. Rather be on the floor than on your stuff. And then also sometimes water bottles leave the little water rings, and then people get mad when they put their stuff down the next period. Food, though, unless there's some kind of agreement that we already have, no Pop-Tarts or Rice Krispie treats, filet mignon, spaghetti dinners. But drink, would be okay. There is a water fountain right out there, so certainly if you're coming in with your water bottle, it'd be a good place to fill up. And if you do have to use the bathroom, they're right there, so we shouldn't have a 15-minute absences or anything like that taking place. Backpacks, things like that, I'd say under the desk is going to be the best place. You don't need to make a little barricade for yourself and things like that. Cell phones, generally, keep them away. If it's something like Remind that we just talked about and I tell you you can bring out the cell phone, then that's certainly perfectly fine. And there might be some times where we do some things, play a Kahoot or whatnot, that you can use your phones. Typically, we'll usually have iPads if we do something like that. I don't know what's all been mentioned to you. They are cracking down on earbuds this year, so in the hallway you're not supposed to have any earbuds. And honestly, I can't really think of too many times where we've had them in here. So if you're walking down the hall, someone says put your earbuds away, just throw them away. Don't make a big deal about it. That's something that we are trying to enforce a little bit more. Any questions about those things? Around 5th period, people start getting hungry. I'm hungry too, so we'll get through it together. If you show up, if you talk to me, you put forth your best effort. If you get confused, you let me know. You're probably going to be okay. I enjoy what I do. You might not like everything that we do, but there should be some kind of value that we try to get out of it, and I'll certainly be able to help you out with those things. Again, textbooks, we'll pass those things out later. You don't have to worry about it for now. When you do get the book, you'll just be able to kind of keep it at home. For those folks who just came in, we're becoming in throughout the course of the period, a couple reminders. Remember, by Monday, you want to have a notebook with you, 3-ring binder. Starting tomorrow, I'll check off that you have it, 5 points going to grade book for it. That vocabulary list that you got, you're going to have this for Monday. Depending on how your handwriting is, yours looks a little rough. Yeah. If you have, hold up. If you have large handwriting or messy handwriting, and you know definition and sentence are not going to fit in this space, put the definition on the back, just number 1 through 10. You can write the sentences there. If you also want, and I've never had anyone do this before, but with Google Classroom it's doable, there's a digital copy of this. If you wanted to actually type on it and submit it that way, you could, but that'd be difficult. Yeah, and we just stay held together, and that'd be fine. What this sounds anal, and I'm not trying to be like this anal retentive with it. You're gonna get a line piece of paper. When we staple it, you want to make sure the little holes match up, because they're gonna be going back in your notebook when we do a check. Otherwise, it's gonna get all kind of messed up. So vocab, you're going to bring that in on Monday complete. And then the last thing would be that Google Classroom. You're going to check your student Gmails. There's an invitation to it. Make sure you accept it, just so I have you showing up in the class. The sheet that was right here, that has your name on it, you can bring that to me tomorrow.
Or, 6X. 6X.
Just with that, I can't tell.